Act 1, Scene 1. The ominous ghost on the ramparts. The bitter winter wind howled through the jagged stone teeth of Elsinore Castle. Denmark was a kingdom trapped in a cold, paranoid sleep. On the high, freezing ramparts, the sentries stood with their iron spears, their breath turning into white mist under a hostile, veiled moon. They were waiting for a terror they had already witnessed twice before.
"Who's there? Stand and unfold yourself,"
cried Bernardo into the freezing dark.
"Nay, answer me. Stand and unfold yourself,"
replied Francisco, his voice flat with exhaustion.
"Long live the king,"
Bernardo whispered, lowering his spear. Francisco?
"You come most carefully upon your hour, Bernardo," the old soldier said.
It is bitter cold, and I am sick at heart." Through the thick, swirling sea fog, a new figure arrived. It was Horatio, a scholar from the University of Wittenberg. Armed with cold logic and books of philosophy, he had come to scoff at the soldiers' ghost stories, demanding rational proof. "Horatio says 'tis but our fantasy, and will not let belief take hold of him, touching this dreaded sight twice seen by us," Bernardo whispered sharply. "Tush, tush, 'twill not appear," Horatio replied with a smooth chuckle. "The dead stay dead, my friends. It is nothing but the shadows of your own fear playing tricks upon the castle walls." But the scholar's arrogant logic shattered in an instant. The temperature plunged to a bone-chilling frost. The blue mist parted, and a colossal spectral figure materialized before them. It was the phantom of the dead King of Denmark, clad in full steel armor, his glowing eyes filled with an unbearable royal grief.
"Peace! Break thee off! Look! Look where it comes again!"
Bernardo hissed, backing away.
"In the same figure, like the king that's dead!"
Horatio gasped, his intellect completely paralyzed.
"What art thou that usurps this time of night? By heaven, I charge thee, speak!"
Offended by the mortal's shout, the towering phantom turned its back and slowly dissolved into the shifting, smoky abyss. "It is gone, and will answer no more," Horatio murmured, dropping his gaze to the wet stone pavement. "Before my God, I might not this believe without the sensible and true avouch of mine own eyes. This bodes some strange eruption to our state. We must impart what we have seen tonight unto young Hamlet, for upon my life, this spirit, dumb to us, will speak to him." Act 1, Scene 2. The velvet trap of the court. The grand hall of Elsinore was drowning in decadent gold and crimson light. King Claudius, the smiling uncle who smoothly stole both his brother's crown and his wife, looked down from the high throne. Beside him sat Queen Gertrude, the court loud with forced celebration. Yet one dark shadow stained the festival. Prince Hamlet stood isolated in the foreground, draped from head to toe in an inky black velvet cloak. A solitary shadow of truth in a kingdom of lies. Though the memory of our dear brother's death is still green, our discretion has fought with nature, King Claudius declared, smiling smoothly at the court. "And now, Hamlet, our cousin and our son, how is it that the clouds still hang on you?" "A little more than kin,"
and less than kind," Hamlet muttered under his breath. Queen Gertrude reached out, her voice carrying a gentle but weak motherly tone. "Good Hamlet, cast thy knighted colour off, and let thine eye look like a friend on Denmark. Thou know'st 'tis common. All that lives must die, passing through nature to eternity." "Aye, madam, it is common," Hamlet snapped coldly. "If it be, why seems it so particular with thee?" Gertrude asked, genuinely confused. His voice rising with intense philosophical fury. "Seems, madam? Nay, it is. I know not seems. 'Tis not alone my inky cloak, good mother, nor customary suits of solemn black. These indeed seem, for they are actions that a man might play. But I have that within which passeth show. These are but the trappings and the suits of woe." The king dismissed Hamlet's grief as unmanly, and the royal court swept out of the hall in a flurry of silk and false laughter. Left entirely alone in the cavernous, echoing silence, the young prince collapsed to the floor. The dam broke, and his inner world violently erupted. "Oh, that this too solid flesh would melt, thaw and resolve itself into a dew! Or that the everlasting had not fixed his cannon 'gainst self-slaughter! Oh, God, God! How weary, stale, flat, and unprofitable seem to me all the uses of this world! Fie on it! Ah, fie! 'Tis an unweeded garden that grows to seed. Things rank and gross in nature possess it merely. That it should come to this, but 2 months dead! Nay, not so much, not 2. So excellent a king. And my mother, within a month? A beast that wants discourse of reason would have mourned longer. She married with my uncle, my father's brother, but no more like my father than I to Hercules. Married in a little month. It is not, nor it cannot come to good. But break my heart, for I must hold my tongue. The heavy wooden doors creaked open. Horatio, Bernardo, and Marcellus entered the silent hall, bringing the chilling news of the armoured phantom walking the night. Eyes wide with manic resolve, my father's spirit in arms. All is not well. I doubt some foul play. Foul deeds will rise, though all the earth o'erwhelm them to men's eyes. If it assume my noble father's person, I'll speak to it, though hell itself should gape and bid me hold my peace. Tonight, on the platform, 'twixt 11 and 12, I'll visit you. Act 1, Scene 3. The worldly mask of wisdom. Away from the freezing battlements, the sun shone warmly into the study of Polonius, the Lord Chamberlain. But the warmth was a political illusion. Here, every human heart was measured by its transaction value. Laertes, preparing to sail for France, gave his final patronizing warning to his gentle sister Ophelia, warning her against the prince's affection. For Hamlet and the trifling of his favour, hold it a fashion and a toy in blood, Laertes said gravely. A violet in the youth of primy nature, sweet, not lasting. Remember, Ophelia,
his greatness weighed, his will is not his own. For he is subject to his birth, he may not, as unvalued persons do, carve for himself. I shall the effect of this good lesson keep as watchman to my heart, Ophelia replied gently. But, good my brother, do not show me the steep and thorny way to heaven, whiles you yourself tread the primrose path of pleasure. Oh, fear me not, Laertes smiled. The heavy, slow footsteps of Polonius interrupted them. The arrogant old statesman entered, pompous and rigid, ready to deliver his famous worldly wisdom, the ultimate handbook for survival in a corrupt society. Yet here, Laertes, aboard, aboard, for shame! The wind sits in the shoulder of your sail, Polonius boomed. There, my blessing with thee, and these few precepts in thy memory look thou character. Give thy thoughts no tongue, nor any unproportioned thought his act. Give every man thy ear, but few thy voice. Take each man's censure, but reserve thy judgment. Polonius paced the room, stopping to look deeply into his son's eyes. This, above all, to thine own self be true, and it must follow, as the night the day, thou canst not then be false to any man. Farewell. My blessing season this in thee. Laertes bowed low and departed. The moment the doors closed, Polonius dropped the facade of the loving father. He turned his sharp, suspicious gaze onto his daughter, ruthlessly interrogating her. What is it, Ophelia, he hath said to you? Marry, well bethought. 'Tis told me he hath very oft of late given private time to you. What is between you? Give me up the truth. He hath, my lord, of late made many tenders of his affection to me, Ophelia whispered softly. Affection? Pooh! You speak like a green girl, unsifted in such perilous circumstance, Polonius roared. Do you believe his tenders, as you call them? From this time forth be somewhat scanter of your maiden presence. I would not, in plain terms, have you so slander any moment's leisure as to give words or talk with the Lord Hamlet. Look to it, I charge you. I shall obey, my lord, Ophelia murmured, her tears falling silently onto the wooden floor. Act 1, Scene 4. The Rotten Thread of Fate. We return to the bitter cold of the outer battlements. Midnight approached. Hamlet, Horatio, and Marcellus stood in the darkness, their faces illuminated only by the stark silver of a hostile moon. The air bites shrewdly. It is very cold, Hamlet murmured, pulling his cloak tight. It is a nipping and an eager air, Horatio replied, his hands trembling. Suddenly, loud trumpets and kettle drums erupted from deep inside the castle, followed by the distant echo of cannon fire over the dark sea. Horatio looked startled. What does this mean, my lord? The king doth wake tonight, and takes his rouse, keeps wassail, and the swaggering upspring reels, Hamlet replied with a bitter scowl. And as he drains his draughts of Rhenish wine, the kettle drum and trumpet thus bray out the triumph of his pledge. But to my mind, though I am native here and to the manor born, it is a custom more honoured in the breach than the observance. This heavy-headed revel makes us traduced and taxed of other nations.
they cleap us drunkards. "Look, my lord, it comes," Horatio hissed. The phantom rose out of the freezing sea mist, standing directly before Hamlet. The young prince froze, his soul caught between human terror and desperate recognition. "Angels and ministers of grace defend us. Be thou a spirit of health or goblin damned. Bring with thee airs from heaven or blasts from hell. Thou comest in such a questionable shape that I will speak to thee. I'll call thee Hamlet, king, father, royal Dane. Oh, answer me, let me not burst in ignorance." The ghost did not speak. It slowly lifted a heavy steel arm, pointing toward the remote, dangerous cliffs hanging over the roaring Black Sea. It beckons you to go with it, as if it's some impartment did desire to you alone, Horatio warned frantically. "But do not go with it." "No, by no means," Marcellus added, grabbing Hamlet's arm. "It will not speak. Then I will follow it," Hamlet declared, his eyes locked on the phantom. "What if it tempt you toward the flood, my lord, or to the dreadful summit of the cliff, and there assume some other horrible form which might deprive your sovereignty of reason and draw you into madness?" "Think of it," Horatio pleaded. "It waves me still. Go on, I'll follow thee. Unhand me, gentlemen. By heaven, I'll make a ghost of him that lets me. I say, away. Go on, I'll follow thee." Hamlet broke into the deep fog, following the armoured spirit into the void. "Something is rotten in the state of Denmark," Marcellus whispered, staring into the dark abyss. Act 1, Scene 5. The Blood Oath and Vengeance. On a desolate, jagged cliff edge, far from the living world, the wind screamed. The armoured titan finally stopped. Hamlet followed, gasping for breath, his feet bleeding against the sharp granite pavement. "Whither wilt thou lead me? Speak. I'll go no further," Hamlet panted. "Mark me," the ghost commanded, echoing through the empty space. "I will," Hamlet replied, looking up into the spirit's glowing white eyes. "My hour is almost come, when I to sulphurous and tormenting flames must render up myself. Pity me not, but lend thy serious hearing to what I shall unfold. If thou didst ever thy dear father love—" "Oh God!" Hamlet wept. "Revenge his foul and most unnatural murder!" the ghost bellowed. "Murder most foul, as in the best it is. But this most foul, strange and unnatural. 'Tis given out that sleeping in my orchard, a serpent stung me. So the whole ear of Denmark is rankly abused. But know, thou noble youth, the serpent that did sting thy father's life now wears his crown." "Oh, my prophetic soul! My uncle!" Hamlet shrieked. "Aye, that incestuous, that adulterate beast. Thus was I sleeping by a brother's hand of life, of crown, of queen, at once dispatched. Cut off even in the blossoms of my sin, sent to my account with all my imperfections on my head. Oh, horrible! Oh, horrible, most horrible! If thou hast nature in thee, bear it not. But, howsoever thou pursuest this act, taint not thy mind, nor let thy soul contrive against thy mother aught. Leave her to heaven. Adieu, adieu, adieu. Remember me. The phantom melted completely into the cold morning light. Hamlet was left alone on the edge of the precipice, his sanity tearing at the seams. Oh, all you host of heaven! O earth! What else? And shall I couple hell? Oh, fie! Hold, hold my heart. And you, my sinews, grow not instant old, but bear me stiffly up. Remember thee. Yea, from the table of my memory, I'll wipe away all trivial fond records, and thy commandment all alone shall live within the book and volume of my brain. Oh, villain! Villain! Smiling, damned villain! Yea, by heaven! Horatio and Marcellus crashed through the brush, finding the prince standing on the edge. His eyes gleamed with a dangerous, calculated, tactical madness. He drew his sword, extending the cross-hilt directly into their faces. Never make known what you have seen tonight. Grant me one poor request. Swear it upon my sword. Hamlet whispered intensely. Swear, the ghost rumbled, shaking the stone foundation. Oh, day and night, but this is wondrous strange, Horatio cried out. And therefore, as a stranger, give it welcome. There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy. Swear that no matter how strange or odd I bear myself, as I perchance hereafter shall think meet to put an antic disposition on, you will never reveal what you know. Swear. Swear. The two friends laid their hands upon the cold steel hilt, trembling as they swore the sacred oath of blood and shadow. The terrifying burden of vengeance fell entirely onto Hamlet's shoulders, his body suddenly collapsing from the crushing weight. Rest, rest, perturbed spirit. So, gentlemen, with all my love, I do commend me to you. The time is out of joint. Oh, cursed spite, that ever I was born to set it right. Nay, come, let's go together. Act 2, The Mask of Madness. Scene 1, The Shattered Mirror of Love. Weeks had passed since the terrifying encounter on the battlements, and a cold, suffocating paranoia had descended upon Elsinore Castle. Prince Hamlet had kept his dark vow, donning a mask of bizarre, unpredictable madness that left the royal court utterly bewildered. In the quiet, sunlit study of the Lord Chamberlain, the first innocent casualty of this madness arrived. Ophelia rushed into her father's room. Her pristine dress was wrinkled, and her beautiful face was completely drained of blood. "How now, Ophelia? What is the matter?"
Polonius asked, his eyes wide with alarm.
"Oh, my lord, I have been so affrighted," Ophelia cried, her voice breathless with terror. "With what in the name of God?" Polonius demanded, grabbing her by the shoulders. "My lord, as I was sewing in my closet, Lord Hamlet, with his doublet all unbraced, no hat upon his head, his stockings fouled and down to his ankles, pale as his shirt, his knees knocking each other. He comes before me, and with a look so piteous in purport, as if he had been loosed out of hell to speak of horrors. 'Mad for thy love,' Polonius murmured. "My lord, I do not know," Ophelia wept softly, "but truly I do fear it. He took me by the wrist and held me hard. Then goes he to the length of all his arm, and with his other hand thus o'er his brow, he falls to such perusal of my face as he would draw it." The old man listened as Ophelia described a silent, agonizing farewell. For a long time the prince had merely stared into her soul, desperately searching for the innocent girl he once loved, only to realize that she, too, was now a pawn in the corrupted world of Denmark. At last, a little shaking of mine arm, and thrice his head thus waving up and down, he raised a sigh so piteous and profound, as it did seem to shatter all his bulk and end his being. That done, he lets me go, and to the last bended their light on me. Completely misunderstanding the depth of the tragedy. "Come, go with me," Polonius said with political urgency. "I will go seek the king. This is the very ecstasy of love. Have you given him any hard words of late?" "No, my good lord," she whispered. "But as you did command, I did repel his letters, and denied his access to me." "That hath made him mad," Polonius declared. "Come, go we to the king. This must be known." And so the foolish old man dragged his traumatized daughter away, eager to trade her heartbreak for the king's favor. The tragic machinery of Elsinore had begun to turn, and there was no stopping it. Scene 2. The prison of Denmark and the player's trap. Grand, yet steeped in claustrophobic suspicion. In the cavernous great hall of the castle, King Claudius was taking no chances. Unnerved by his nephew's sudden, dangerous transformation, the king had summoned two of Hamlet's childhood friends, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. Their mission was veiled in warm smiles, but its nature was undeniably dark. They were spies, hired by the crown to pluck out the heart of Hamlet's mystery. "Welcome, dear Rosencrantz and Guildenstern," the king smiled. "Something have you heard of Hamlet's transformation? I entreat you both to draw him on to pleasures, and to gather whether aught to us unknown afflicts him thus." The spies eagerly accepted their royal bribe and departed. Moments later, Polonius entered the hall, proudly dragging the theory of Hamlet's madness behind him. He claimed the prince was merely suffering from a broken heart. But when Hamlet entered the hall reading a book, his madness revealed itself to be something far sharper and far more lethal. Stepping cautiously in front of the prince, "How does my good Lord Hamlet? Do you know me, my lord?" Polonius asked. "Excellent well. You are a fishmonger," Hamlet replied without looking up. "Not I, my lord," the old man stammered, confused and slightly insulted. "Then I would you were so honest a man." "Honest, my lord?" "Aye, sir. To be honest, as this world goes, is to be one man picked out of 10,000, Hamlet said. Have you a daughter? I have, my lord, Polonius replied, stepping back nervously. Let her not walk i' the sun. Conception is a blessing, but not as your daughter may conceive. Friend, look to it. Polonius retreated, utterly confused and outmatched by the prince's razor-sharp riddles. As he left, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern approached. For a brief, fleeting moment, Hamlet's face softened, recognizing his childhood companions. But his piercing intellect quickly uncovered their true, treacherous purpose. My excellent good friends, how dost thou, Guildenstern? Ah, Rosencrantz, good lads, how do you both? What news? None, my lord, but that the world's grown honest, Rosencrantz chuckled. Then is doomsday near, Hamlet scoffed. But your news is not true. Let me question more in particular. What have you, my good friends, deserved at the hands of fortune, that she sends you to prison hither? Prison, my lord? Guildenstern asked, glancing at his partner. Denmark's a prison. Then is the world one, Rosencrantz smirked dismissively. A goodly one, in which there are many confines, wards and dungeons, Denmark being one of the worst. We think not so, my lord. Why then, 'tis none to you. For there is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. To me, it is a prison. Were you not sent for? Is it your own inclining? Is it a free visitation? Come, deal justly with me. Come, nay, speak. My lord, we were sent for, Guildenstern admitted, his voice dripping with profound melancholy. I will tell you why, Hamlet said softly. I have of late, but wherefore I know not, lost all my mirth. This goodly frame, the earth, seems to me a sterile promontory. This majestical roof, fretted with golden fire, why, it appears no other thing to me than a foul and pestilent congregation of vapours. What a piece of work is a man! How noble in reason, how infinite in faculty! In form and moving, how express and admirable! In action, how like an angel! In apprehension, how like a god! The beauty of the world, the paragon of animals. And yet, to me, what is this quintessence of dust? Man delights not me. No, nor woman neither. Act 3, Scene 1. To be or not to be. The velvet traps of Elsinore were closing. Hidden behind the heavy, dust-laden tapestries of the gallery, King Claudius and Polonius waited like predators to observe Prince Hamlet's madness. Steps echoed on the cold marble. Hamlet entered, completely detached from the physical world, walking along the razor edge of his own fading sanity. To be or not to be? That is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind, to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing, end them. To die, to sleep, no more. and by a sleep to say we end the heartache and the 1,000 natural shocks that flesh is heir to. 'Tis a consummation devoutly to be wished. To die, to sleep. To sleep, perchance to dream, aye, there's the rub. For in that sleep of death, what dreams may come, when we have shuffled off this mortal coil, must give us pause. Thus conscience does make cowards of us all. Hamlet caught sight of Ophelia, kneeling with a prayer book, her eyes swollen from silent tears. The sudden confrontation shattered his solitary reflection. "Good my lord, how does your honour for this many a day?" she asked. "I humbly thank you, well, well, well," he replied. "My lord, I have remembrances of yours that I have longed long to redeliver. Rich gifts wax poor when givers prove unkind. There, my lord." "Ha ha! Are you honest? Are you fair? If you be honest and fair, your honesty should admit no discourse to your beauty. I did love you once." "Indeed, my lord, you made me believe so," she whispered, deeply hurt. "You should not have believed me. I loved you not." "I was the more deceived," she sobbed. "Get thee to a nunnery. Why wouldst thou be a breeder of sinners? We are arrant knaves all. Believe none of us. If thou dost marry, I'll give thee this plague for thy dowry. Be thou as chaste as ice, as pure as snow, thou shalt not escape calumny. To a nunnery go, and quickly too. Farewell." Hamlet stormed out, leaving Ophelia shattered on her knees, her innocence completely eviscerated by the madness of Elsinore. "Oh, what a noble mind is here o'erthrown, and I of ladies most deject and wretched. Oh, woe is me to have seen what I have seen, see what I see." Act 3, Scene 2. The play's the trap. The grand hall of Elsinore was converted into a psychological colosseum. Torchlight flickered wildly against the stone pillars. King Claudius, Queen Gertrude, and the entire court had gathered to watch the performance by the travelling players. Sitting at Ophelia's feet, Hamlet watched Claudius like a hawk, his eyes tracking every nervous twitch of the usurper's face. "What do you call the play, Hamlet?" the king asked. "The Mouse Trap," Hamlet replied smoothly. "This play is the image of a murder done in Vienna. You shall see anon. 'Tis a knavish piece of work. But what of that? Your Majesty, and we that have free souls, it touches us not. Let the galled jade flinch. Our withers are unwrung." The performance reached its climax. The actor playing the murderer stepped forward, holding a vial of black poison, approaching the sleeping king in the garden. "He poisons him i' the garden for his estate. You shall see anon how the murderer gets the love of Gonzago's wife." On stage, the poison was poured into the sleeping king's ear. Claudius snapped. He stood up from his throne, his face turning pale with horrific realization. "Give me some light! Away!" the king roared. The hall erupted into absolute chaos. Torches were grabbed, benches were flipped, and the court fled in a panic. Claudius ran as if chased by the devil himself. In the empty, smoking hall, Hamlet stood alone with Horatio, laughing with a dark, terrifying clarity.
Oh, good Horatio. I'll take the ghost's word for £1,000. Didst perceive? Very well, my lord. Horatio nodded firmly. The play's the thing. The mask is off. Now I know my course. Act 3, Scene 3. The King's Prayer. In the absolute silence of the royal chapel, King Claudius fell to his knees before a golden crucifix. The political armor had collapsed. Only a guilty, terrified man remained. In the shadows behind the altar, Hamlet approached silently, his hand gripping the cold steel hilt of his sword.
Oh, my offence is rank. It smells to heaven. It hath the primal eldest curse upon it. A brother's murder.
The king looked down at his trembling hands. But oh, what form of prayer can serve my turn? Forgive me my foul murder? That cannot be, since I am still possessed of those effects for which I did the murder, my crown, mine own ambition, and my queen. O wretched state! O bosom black as death! Bow, stubborn knees! Hamlet stepped out from the shadows. He drew his sword. The silver blade cut through the candlelight, inches from Claudius's neck. Now might I do it pat, now he is praying. And now I'll do it. He lifted the sword, preparing to strike, then froze. And so he goes to heaven, and so am I revenged. That would be scanned. A villain kills my father, and for that I, his sole son, do this same villain send to heaven. Why, this is hire and salary, not revenge. He took my father grossly, full of bread, with all his crimes broad blown as fresh as May. No. Up sword, and know thou a more horrid hent. When he is drunk asleep, or in his rage, or in the incestuous pleasure of his bed, then trip him, that his heels may kick at heaven, and that his soul may be as damned and black as hell, whereto it goes. Hamlet vanished back into the shadows. A moment later, Claudius rose from his knees, completely unaware that death had just kissed his neck. My words fly up. My thoughts remain below. Words without thoughts never to heaven go. Act 3, Scene 4. The Closet Scene. Queen Gertrude waited in her private chamber, terrified by the chaos of the night. Polonius quickly hid behind a massive embroidered tapestry against the wall, preparing to listen to the confrontation. Hamlet stormed into the room, his eyes wild, carrying the terrifying momentum of a son who had looked into the abyss. Hamlet, thou hast thy father much offended, the queen scolded. Mother, you have my father much offended, Hamlet shot back, stepping forward and locking the door. Come, bring you a glass where you may see the inmost part of you. What wilt thou do? Thou wilt not murder me? Help! Help! Ho! She shrieked. What? Ho! Help! 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 Polonius cried out. How now, a rat? Dead, for a ducat dead. Without a second thought, Hamlet drove his heavy steel sword directly through the tapestry. A wet, guttural scream tore through the room as the old man collapsed behind the cloth. "Oh me! What hast thou done?" Gertrude cried. A bloody deed. Almost as bad, good mother, as kill a king. and marry with her brother. He tore back the blood-soaked tapestry, revealing the lifeless face of Polonius. "Thou wretched, rash, intruding fool, farewell. I took thee for thy better." Suddenly the air froze. Out of the stone wall, the ghost of the dead king appeared, clad in a glowing pale shroud. Gertrude shook her head in terror, seeing nothing but empty air, while Hamlet dropped to his knees. "Save me, and hover o'er me with your wings, you heavenly guards," Hamlet wept. "Alas, he's mad." "Whereon do you look?" Gertrude cried. "On him! On him! Look you, how pale he glares. Do you see nothing there?" "Nothing at all. Yet all that is I see," she wept, shaking her head. The phantom vanished into the shadows. Hamlet was left kneeling before his weeping, converted mother. The body of Polonius lay cooling in a pool of dark blood. The boundary line had been crossed, and the ruin of Elsinore was now irreversible. I must be cruel, only to be kind. Thus bad begins, and worse remains behind. Act 4. The Descent into Ruin. Scene 1. The Veil of Silence. The echoes of the fatal blade in the Queen's chamber had barely faded, but the political shockwaves were already rippling through the dark corridors of Elsinore. Queen Gertrude, her soul shattered by the horrific spectacle she had just witnessed, rushed to King Claudius, her face as pale as death.
"Ah, my good lord, what have I seen tonight?" In his lawless fit behind the arras, hearing something stir, he whips out his rapier, cries, "A rat! A rat!" and in this brainish apprehension kills the unseen good old man.
Oh, heavy deed! It had been so with us, had we been there. Your wisdom, Gertrude, must find a way to shield this cover. Where is he gone? To draw apart the body he hath killed, weeping for what is done, she whispered, lowering her eyes. Gertrude, come away. The sun no sooner shall the mountains touch, but we will ship him hence. This vile deed we must, with all our majesty and skill, both countenance and excuse. Come, away. Act 4, Scene 2. The Traitor's Sponge. In a damp, shadowed vault of the castle, Hamlet was dragging the blood-stained corpse of Polonius, concealing it from the living. Suddenly, the heavy footsteps of the king's hunting dogs echoed. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern cornered the prince, demanding the body. "Compounded it with dust, whereto 'tis kin," Hamlet muttered softly. "What have you done with it, my lord? Tell us where it is, that we may take it to the chapel," Rosencrantz demanded, adjusting his courtly robes. "Do not believe it, that I can keep your counsel and not mine own. Besides, to be demanded of a sponge. Aye, sir, a sponge that soaks up the king's countenance, his rewards, his authorities. When he needs what you have gleaned, it is but squeezing you, and, sponge, you shall be dry again." "Take us to the body, my lord," Guildenstern shouted, losing his patience. "The body is with the king, but the king is not with the body. The king is a thing of nothing. Hide, fox, and all after." Act 4, Scene 3. The Banquet of Worms. Guarded by heavily armed soldiers, Hamlet was brought before King Claudius. The atmosphere in the great hall was suffocatingly tense. Claudius sought a confession, but Hamlet turned the interrogation into a terrifying philosophical sermon on death. "Now, Hamlet, where is Polonius?" the king demanded. "At supper." "At supper? Where?" "Not where he eats, but where he is eaten. A certain convocation of politic worms are e'en at him. Your worm is your only emperor for diet. We fat all creatures else to fat us, and we fat ourselves for maggots. Your fat king and your lean beggar is but variable service, 2 dishes, but to 1 table. That's the end. Where is Polonius?" "In heaven. Send thither to see. If your messenger find him not there, seek him i' the other place yourself." Claudius declared that for Hamlet's own safety, he must depart for England immediately. The court cleared, leaving the usurper alone in the dim candlelight, his true demonic malice leaking out into the silence. "And England, if my love thou hold'st at aught, thou mayst not coldly set our sovereign process, which imports at full, by letters congruing to that effect, the present death of Hamlet. Do it, England, for like the hectic in my blood he rages, and thou must cure me." Act 4, Scene 4. The Wasteland of Honour. On a bleak, wind-swept plain near the coast, Hamlet paused on his path to exile. In the distance, the disciplined, sweeping banners of young Prince Fortinbras of Norway marched toward Poland. They were willing to sacrifice 20,000 lives for a worthless patch of frozen dirt. The sight triggered a violent psychological storm within Hamlet. "How all occasions do inform against me and spur my dull revenge. What is a man, if his chief good and market of his time be but to sleep and feed? A beast, no more." Witness this army of such mass and charge, led by a delicate and tender prince, exposing what is mortal and unsure to all that fortune, death, and danger dare, even for an eggshell. Rightly to be great is not to stir without great argument, but greatly to find quarrel in a straw when honour's at the stake. How stand I then, that have a father killed, a mother stained, excitements of my reason and my blood, and let all sleep? Oh, from this time forth, my thoughts be bloody, or be nothing worth. Act 4, Scene 5. Broken Innocence. The poison of Elsinore had claimed another sanity. Ophelia, utterly shattered by the brutal murder of her father and the violent rejection of her lover, wandered the royal court completely mad. Her hair was tangled, her fingers clutching a wild harvest of weeds and flowers as she stood before the king and queen. "How should I your true love know from another one? By his cockle hat and staff, and his sandal shoon? He is dead and gone, lady. He is dead and gone. At his head a grass-green turf, at his heels a stone. Alas, sweet Ophelia!" Queen Gertrude wept, reaching out a hand, but the girl belonged to the shadows now. Suddenly, the heavy palace gates groaned and shattered. Laertes, fueled by a blood-red fury, stormed into the court leading an angry mob, demanding vengeance for his father's silent burial. He drew his sword, pointing it directly at Claudius's throat. "O thou vile king, give me my father. That drop of blood that's calm proclaims me bastard.
To hell, allegiance, vows to the blackest devil, conscience and grace to the profoundest pit. I dare damnation. Only I'll be revenged most thoroughly for my father. As the cunning king smoothly attempted to calm the young warrior, Ophelia wandered back into the room. The sight of his sister's beautiful mind, completely ruined, broke Laertes' fierce rage into pure, agonizing grief. Oh heavens! Is it possible a young maid's wits should be as mortal as an old man's life? Oh, Rose of May, dear maid, kind sister, sweet Ophelia. Distributing her tragic gifts. There's rosemary, that's for remembrance. Pray, love, remember. And there is pansies, that's for thoughts. There's fennel for you, and columbines. There's rue for you. Her sorrowful, haunting melodies echoed through the stone chamber, embedding a lethal, unbreakable vow of blood into Laertes' frozen heart. Act 4, Scene 6. The Ghost from the Sea. While the halls of Elsinore burned with madness, Horatio received a clandestine visit from rough-hewn sailors. They brought a message from a prince who had seemingly beaten death itself. Horatio, when thou shalt have overlooked this, give these fellows some meance to the king. They have letters for him. Ere we were 2 days old at sea, a pirate of very warlike appointment gave us chase. On the instant, they got clear of our ship. So I alone became their prisoner. Let the king have the letters I have sent. And repair thou to me with as much speed as thou wouldst fly from death. I have words to speak in thine ear, will make thee dumb. Farewell. Hamlet. Come, I will make way for these your letters. Direct me to him from whom you brought them, now. Scene 7. The Venomous Alliance. King Claudius reads the chilling note from his nephew. His lethal trap in England had failed. Now he looks upon Laertes, weaponizing the young man's blinding grief into a new, unbreakable snare. Tomorrow shall I beg leave to see your kingly eyes. What should this mean? Are all the rest come back? Or is it a cheat? If it be so, Laertes, will you be ruled by me? I will work him to an exploit, now ripe in my device, under the which he shall not choose but fall. And for his death, no wind of blame shall breathe. Even his mother shall call it accident. We shall bring you together, lay a choice wager on your heads. You shall choose a rapier, and in the confusion, select an unbaited blade, and with one swift pass, requite him for your father. I will do it. Let him come. It warms the very sickness in my heart that I shall live and tell him to his teeth, thus didst thou. And for that purpose, I'll anoint my sword. I bought a poison, so mortal that if I but gall him slightly, he is dead. Let's further think of this. When you are hot and dry in your motion, and Hamlet calls for drink, I'll have prepared for him a chalice. If he by chance escape your venomed thrust, our purpose may hold there. The web was woven, but suddenly the heavy oak doors groaned open. Queen Gertrude stepped into the room, bearing the crushing weight of Elsinore's tragedy. One woe doth tread upon another's heel. So fast they follow, Your sisters drowned, Laertes. There is a willow grows aslant a brook. There with fantastic garlands did she come. An envious sliver broke, and down her weedy trophies and herself fell in the weeping brook. Her clothes spread wide, and mermaid-like a while they bore her up. She chanted snatches of old lords, but long it could not be. Her garments, heavy with their drink, pulled the poor wretch to muddy death. Alas then, she is drowned. Too much of water hast thou, poor Ophelia, and therefore I forbid my tears. Adieu, my lord. I have a speech of fire that fain would blaze, but that this folly doubts it. The mournful winds howled. Ophelia is dead. Hamlet has returned, and the toxic chalice waits in the dark. Elsinore stands on the very brink of total annihilation. Act 5, Scene 1. The ethereal graveyard. The harsh winter wind whistled through the barren graveyard just outside the castle walls of Elsinore. Hamlet, returning from his exile, stood among the ancient moss-covered stones. The frantic mask of madness was gone, replaced by a cold, heavy acceptance of his fate. A gravedigger was tossing bones into the dirt, singing a hollow tune. Hamlet knelt and picked up an earth-stained skull. "Alas, poor Yorick," he whispered, holding the skull up to the fading light. "I knew him, Horatio. A fellow of infinite jest, of most excellent fancy. He hath borne me on his back 1,000 times, and now, how abhorred in my imagination it is. Where be your jibes now, your gambols, your songs, your flashes of merriment that were wont to set the table on a roar? Not one now, to mock your own grinning? Quiet, devastating certainty. Now get you to my lady's chamber, and tell her, let her paint an inch thick. To this favour she must come. Make her laugh at that." He gently placed the skull back into the cold earth. Alexander the Great returned into dust. The dust is earth. All the glory of the world, reduced to a single breath of dust. "So it is, my lord," Horatio replied quietly. "The greatest of kings and the poorest of men must sleep in the same silent earth." The ethereal peace was suddenly shattered. A funeral procession, dressed in heavy black, entered the cemetery. The king, the queen, and a half-mad Laertes followed the casket. It was Ophelia. The realization of her death struck
Hamlet like a physical blow, tearing away his last shred of restraint. "Lay her in the earth!" Laertes cried out, leaping into the open grave. "And from her fair and unpolluted flesh may violets spring. Hold off the earth a while, till I have caught her once more in mine arms." "What is he whose grief bears such an emphasis?" Hamlet roared. "This is I, Hamlet the Dane." Hamlet leaped into the grave, grappling fiercely with Laertes over the coffin of the woman they both loved. "I loved Ophelia!" Hamlet screamed, tears streaming down his face. 40,000 brothers could not, with all their quantity of love, make up my sum. What wilt thou do for her? Be buried quick with her, and so will I." The royal guards tore them apart. As Hamlet was pulled away, King Claudius watched with cold, reptilian satisfaction. The final trap was now set. Act 5, Scene 2. The Fall of Elsinore. Inside the grand hall, the golden cage of Elsinore was prepared for its ultimate tragedy. A fencing match had been arranged between Hamlet and Laertes, but there was no honor here. Laertes wielded a blade dipped in deadly venom, and King Claudius had prepared a poisoned chalice of wine. Hamlet stepped onto the floor, his eyes completely clear, carrying the fatalistic calm of a man who knows his end is near. "There is a special providence in the fall of a sparrow," Hamlet murmured to Horatio. "If it be now, 'tis not to come. If it be not to come, it will be now. The readiness is all. Let be." The sharp, metallic clash of steel rang out. The duel began, an elegant, sorrowful dance of fate. Hamlet scored the first hit. The king, anxious, offered the poisoned wine. "Hamlet, this pearl is thine. Here's to thy health. Give him the cup," Claudius declared. "I'll play this bout first. Set it by a while," Hamlet replied. The fight resumed, but Queen Gertrude, celebrating her son's skill, reached for the table. "The queen carouses to thy fortune, Hamlet," she said, raising the golden chalice. "Gertrude, do not drink," the king hissed. "I will, my lord. I pray you, pardon me," she replied, and drank deeply from the cup. Laertes, seeing his window closing, lunged forward. He struck Hamlet, drawing blood with the poisoned tip. Furious, Hamlet disarmed Laertes in a scuffle, grabbed the envenomed weapon, and struck Laertes back. The lethal steel had bitten them both. Suddenly, Queen Gertrude collapsed to the cold marble floor. "No! No! The drink! The drink! Oh, my dear Hamlet! I am poisoned!" she cried out, taking her last breath. "Oh, villainy! Ho! Let the door be locked! Treachery! Seek it out!" Hamlet roared. "It is here, Hamlet," Laertes gasped, falling to his knees. "Thou art slain. No medicine in the world can do thee good. The treacherous instrument is in thy hand, unbaited and envenomed. The foul practice hath turned itself on me. Thy mother's poisoned, the king's to blame." Time slowed down.
Hamlet stared at the blade, his eyes burning red with the fury of a judging angel. The point envenomed too? Then, venom. To thy work, he screamed, driving the poisoned blade deep into King Claudius's chest. He grabbed the king by the throat, forcing the remaining poisoned wine into his mouth. Here, thou incestuous, murderous, damned Dane, drink off this potion. Follow my mother. The king perished in agony. Laertes breathed his last, asking for forgiveness. The golden hall grew utterly silent, save for the shallow, ragged breaths of the dying prince. The poison raced through his veins. Hamlet collapsed into the arms of his only true friend. I am more an antique Roman than a Dane. Here's yet some liquor left, Horatio cried, grabbing the poisoned cup from the floor. Pleading with intense love, as thou art a man, give me the cup. Let go. By heaven, I'll have it. Hamlet gasped, staring deep into Horatio's eyes. Oh, good Horatio, what a wounded name shall live behind me. If thou didst ever hold me in thy heart, absent thee from felicity a while, and in this harsh world draw thy breath in pain to tell my story. Far in the distance, the marching drums of Prince Fortinbras of Norway approached the castle walls. But inside the hall, the war was over. The prince's eyes slowly glazed over, staring into an unseen, beautiful light. I die, Horatio. The rest is silence. With a single final breath, the Prince of Denmark was gone. Now cracks a noble heart, Horatio wept, holding him close. Good night, sweet prince, and flights of angels sing thee to thy rest. The tragedy of Elsinore came to a close. The throne was empty. The stage was soaked in blood. Yet the soul of the tormented prince was finally free. The grand, echoing silence was all that remained.